Thank you, Aditya, for doing this. Really means a lot to me and for our UD Squad community. I know I call it UD Squad, and you also know that. And I'm so happy and so excited that we are finally doing this. I know we planned this a little bit early as well, that we were gonna do it, and then few things came up, and we're gonna talk about those few things, and then now finally we are doing it. So I'm super grateful for you being here.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much, Yudi.
Yeah, yeah. So Aditya and I have a very similar journey. At least the part of it is very similar. He was with me in Chico State. One batch, like you came after one batch, me, right?
Yeah,
Or
so
two
I came
batches?
in 2015.
Or
So,
fall 2015.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. So fall 2015. Why? Let's do a quick intro for people who don't
Sure.
know you, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So, my name is Aditya Zoshi. I'm originally from Pune. I did my engineering from Siagat College of Engineering. And then I came to the US to do my master's in computer science. After that, I've been working with American Express as a technical program manager. And I think we'll talk more about that soon. But I'm currently based, I was in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm currently based in Toronto, Canada. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to get to that part. But before that part, there are so many other stories which I want to cover.
Sure.
And especially for the people, I just encourage you to watch this entire episode because there's going to be a lot more value in this. His story is like, I've not heard something like that. So let's start with you. People like to hear profile just so that it helps them understand,
Right.
give them perspective. What was your GRE TOEFL, if you remember? I know it was like 6 years ago.
So my GRE score, I think, was like 308.
Hmm.
My TOEFL, I think it was 104 or something, 103 or 104.
Okay.
And yeah, so
And what was your bachelor's?
and my bachelor's, I had like, I think barely about 60% or something. So not that
Man.
great.
No, that's good. That's good. And did you have any work experience or no?
No, I
So
did
you
my
were
bachelor's
fresher.
in engineering and I came directly for my
This
master's.
is even getting interesting now, because I just did a live stream like yesterday, and a lot of students were asking me, "Can you get project management job without work experience?" And here's an example. So I'm so glad. I didn't know that. I thought you had like
Yeah.
couple years of experience.
No, I had an internship. I did an internship. So during my final year of my engineering, I did an internship with KPIT for a year.
Hmm.
But that was like a part-time internship. So I did my final year project with KPIT and did an internship on the side. But that's about it. It was not a hardcore experience.
Oh, got it. Okay, okay. Cool. So, why Chico State? Because I mean, your profile is good. Why did you choose Chico State?
So I wanted to come to California. That was like the number one thing for me. Partly because my family is based in the Bay Area, some
Hmm.
of my family. And secondly, the proximity to Silicon Valley. So I was under the impression that if I'm
Ah.
close to the Silicon Valley, it's easier to get an internship, easier to get a job.
Hmm.
Uh, Fast forward, I don't think that's the case, but that
Well,
time,
in terms of Chico, yes, I
yeah,
think, but because Chico is like people think that, oh, it's only 3 hours from
yeah,
Bay Area, so it's easy. But I think people don't realize 3 hours is like 200 miles, and it
exactly.
doesn't mean that it's not like Mumbai Pune.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then secondly, I think the value for money. So Chico State, like the cost of living is super low.
I
The
know.
cost of
Yeah,
tuition is bare minimum. I don't think you'll be able to find that anywhere in California,
yeah,
like a good state university in California. So
totally.
that's why Chico State. So
Yes, we are promoting Chico State over here, both the Chico State
and
alumni, and it.
actually, like I don't know if we can cover this, but when I was at Chico State, so after my first semester, I applied for a transfer to San Jose State, and I got the transfer, but I denied the transfer and I stayed back at Chico State. So,
I was going to ask you that because I
oh, okay.
remember we remember you doing that, and so before that, but actually I want to talk about the job, the on-campus job. So I mean,
Sure.
I've talked about Chico State a lot. He's done computer science masters, so just like me, and transition from computer science to project management. or program management.
Mhm.
I want to talk about the your on-campus job, which was like the best job ever, I think. How did you get it? What was the job?
So, I worked as a technical project manager with the Department of Entrepreneurship College of Business. So, I was
So
like
cool.
an assistant to the professor of entrepreneurship at Chico State. And so, the way I got it was so when I came to Chico State, like everyone, I was searching for an on campus job, and I was applying to associated students and different cafeterias and whatnot. And I was looking at these job cat portals and stuff, and I was applying, but I got rejected like one after the other constantly everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I decided I'm just going to go department to department. Literally, I was literally like handing
Yes.
out my resume to every single department I went out to, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm willing to do anything, like anything at all. So one day I actually got a call from the chair of the College of Business saying that he has an opportunity and he thinks that I would be a good fit. And he asked
Nice.
me if I was interested. So I was like, yeah, totally. And so he got me in touch with the professor of entrepreneurship. And then I met her, we spoke. She told me what it was about, and I was interested. I think she was interested in hiring me. So then I got it.
Nice.
Uh,
So that was kind of your interview. Like there wasn't like any other formal interview.
no, I think that was it. Like it was
Yeah.
literally like a 1 hour conversation between me and her. It was like an interview. She asked me about my prior experience, managing projects,
Yeah.
and how do I deal with, how do we build software and how do we manage a software team and stuff like that. So really
Yeah.
basic project management
Right.
principle.
This is a testimony for what I say in my videos. Please do not stay at your home and room and thinking that jobs are gonna come to you. You have to get
Yeah,
out.
absolutely.
What Aditya said, basically go department to department. I did the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I also did not get the job just like you in the first semester, and then I went to student life and leadership because I was the president for Indian club. Is to go there, and then one day
Uh-huh.
they told me that, hey, why don't you apply for this job? And I was like,
Okay.
yeah, I want to. So yeah, I mean, this it's a great example for people to realize that it's not just library, reception, cafeteria, housing jobs. There are jobs like technical project manager on campus, and
Totally.
that experience is so valuable. It counts in your real world as well. And that was
Absolutely.
probably your biggest turning point from
Yeah.
tech job to management job, right?
Absolutely. Like if I did not do that, I would end up being a software engineer right now.
Yeah.
So I think with that experience, I was able to craft my way and then get into project management and software management essentially.
Right. What kind of things did you do in that role as on the
So
campus? Yeah.
yeah, so basically, project was called the Collegiate Wind Competition, and the Chico State team was going to participate in this competition. So the idea was that we had to build a wind turbine prototype, and then create a business plan around the wind turbine and the business around it, basically. So what we did was I came up with the idea, and we called it the Diya project. So Diya in Hindi means
Mm.
there are two meanings. So one is to give as a verb, and it also means light in the
Yeah.
noun form.
Yeah.
So basically diya means to give light. And so we the
Mhm.
plan was to actually take these wind turbines, install them in rural India, and then give light to schools in rural India. So that was the entire business plan that I came up with. And so
And
we
you were the one who came up with the idea, or it was like group collective?
So I initiated the idea. So I came up with the idea, and there was a team of business students who actually built the business plan from scratch, and then they
Mm.
put it in the business technical terms.
Yeah.
We had an engineering team who built the prototype and then
Mm.
tested the prototype in an actual wind tunnel at the competition venue.
Yeah.
So that's what
And
I did.
you were the project manager for that.
Yes, I was the technical project manager for this entire project. So there were
So
about
cool.
16 students that were working on this. One professor from entrepreneurship, my boss, and one professor from the mechanical engineering department. And so we, all of us, like we built the entire prototype, we made the business plan, and we flew to New Orleans to present this, and we won
Yeah.
the best deployment strategy award nationally uh,
Nice.
for this project.
So cool. That is so cool. And just because I know my audience, I know they feel intimidated by the word project manager or technical project manager. And I think people misunderstand that. They think that manager word means that you need to have certain years of experience to do that job, which is not true in at least in the term in case of project
Yeah.
manager. And I know that you did not have experience. How did you manage to do all the job without any experience, without learning all those things?
So I think there is a primary difference. When you say manager, people usually think of it from a people management perspective. So
Yeah.
people think from it that you have reportees reporting to you.
Hmm.
Whereas a project manager is basically managing the project, not the people in the project. And
Correct.
so basically, I feel that every single person, like including everyone who's watching this, is a project manager, because let's say you are
Yes.
planning to come to the US. Coming to the US is a project. And so you have prerequisites to that, which is giving your GRE
100%.
profile, then
Great
applying.
example. That's
And so
I
basically,
right.
everyone is a project manager. I don't think that there is anyone who is not. And if you're not a project manager, I don't know how you're living. So,
Yeah. No,
so
I
everyone,
gave the same example in one of my videos is birthday parties. We all as a kid
yeah,
we have planned birthday parties, and that is itself is a project manager management role where you are a project manager where you plan who to invite, who are your
exactly.
stakeholders, how much budget you have, when the go live date is, and all that thing.
Right.
So right, right. But the thing other thing is that is the term perspective, but other thing is technical, which is people think that you have to have that knowledge to manage the project, right?
So,
So in your case you were doing the wind energy, did
mhm,
but I know that you did not take any classes for wind energy or
yeah.
anything. How to overcome those things?
So I think just understanding what the project is about, as long as you have a high level overview of exactly what the product is in that particular project, and then understanding, you don't need to go into the nitty gritties of every single minute thing of the project, but as long as you have a very high level overview and understand how the product works, I think that's good enough. And
Yeah.
then you can suggest improvements for that particular product very easily, as long as you have a high level overview. Now, if you want to be like super technical, you want to be an engineer first and then a project manager. Like if your role is 50% engineering and 50% management, then you need to know the nitty gritty. So that's like my role at American Express, which we can get into after some time. But
Right.
during the role at Cal State Chico, the role was not very technical. My role was more on the business side of things, less on the engineering side of things. So I had a very high level overview of how the product works, what's wind energy, how to build a wind turbine kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah, and the reason I'm pushing on this topic so early right now is because I just want people to understand the basic difference between the term project manager and versus people manager in that
Right.
the technical expertise people think that you need to have to become project manager. It's
Mhm.
your job really as a project manager is to get the project done. It's
Yes,
as simple as that. You have people, you have budget, get it done.
yeah,
That's your job. It's
exactly.
as simple as that. Okay, moving on to, I know we covered a lot on this. Moving on to, do you mind sharing what was the like salary range for this kind of positions? I know for student jobs,
So, mhm.
cafeteria and all, you usually get like roughly what $10 or $11, $10 to $12.
So I was on a fixed salary at Cal State, so I was not hourly paid. It was so it ranged between about, I think every semester it kept changing, it kept increasing, but my initial was about 1100 a month, and then
Oh
it kept
wow,
increasing. So by the time I graduated, I think it went up to about 1400, I think so, per month.
nice.
And then
And there were fixed hours, or it was just basically 20
it
hours?
was max 20 hours a week, but essentially like we used to work, it used to end up being like 10 hours or 12 hours a week, not more than that. So
Hmm. Okay.
uh,
And it doesn't matter because it's a fixed salary. So
yeah,
even if you work 10 hours, you still get 1300. If
right,
you work 20 hours, you still get 1300.
exactly.
Cool. Awesome. I now I want to do want to talk about that you were in computer science, masters in computer science. I know I remember you asking me this even when you we were studying together that you wanted to shift to San Jose State. You applied for transfer. What happened? Like why did you not go?
So the day I came to Chico State, I had decided that I'm going to go out. I'm going to go to the first time I actually applied to San Jose State, I got rejected, and I was pretty saddened about it. So I was like that I'm going to go to Chico State, and then I'm going to take a transfer to San Jose or San Francisco. So I applied to both San Jose and San Francisco State University, and I got admitted to both for a transfer
Mm,
for spring 2016. And
mm,
uh, everything was done. Like my I-20 was transferred, my visa service record was transferred. I had given up my apartment already. Um, I had an apartment booked in San Jose. Everything was done. I had even paid like 3 credits worth of fees at San Jose, and I had told our department chair at the time at Chico State that I'm going.
mm,
And then I met my boss at Chico State. And this is a true story. So I met my boss. I told her that, hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to San Jose. And she's like, don't do that mistake of your life because this job is going to change you. And so I thought about it. And then I'm like, I am not going to leave for this job. That's it. So I decided not to go to San Jose State because of my job at Chico State. And so
wow.
I did not actually stay for the
The-
computer science course essentially. I stayed for the job and the experience that this job was going to give me.
mm. What was
Today,
the reason you
retrospective.
wanted to move to San Jose State?
So the reason I wanted to move to San Jose State was I had seen that students studying at San Jose State got better jobs.
Mm,
They got better opportunities. Actually, a good companies came to San Jose State to recruit. At Chico State, we did not have great companies come to recruit computer science at all.
yeah.
So San Jose State had like all the Bay Area companies come to them, and they were literally like begging students to join them. It used to be
Yeah.
in the other direct interview process was in the other way around. So
Right.
that's the reason why I wanted to go.
Right. Yeah. And the beauty of Chico and Chico State is that it's a small town. So
Hmm.
people really care for you. And, if you find true, like, good people around you, hold on to them because they
Yeah,
really want to help you and mentor you. So just like Aditya's boss is like, don't do this mistake. This job is going to
yeah.
really help you with your career. And it did actually
It did
work out.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Retrospectively, if I did not do that, I don't know what I would be doing right now. So
You would be probably a software developer.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, which is not bad, which is not bad.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I
so
like this better. So uh, what I
yeah,
do right now, I think I'm a better project manager than I would have been as a software engineer or a software developer.
totally, totally. So now moving on to you finish your masters,
Mhm.
your journey. So you did your masters in computer science. Now the biggest struggle was getting a job as a project manager, full-time job.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. How was it? Like, when did you get it? What was the struggle like, and what strategies did you apply?
So I came in fall 2015. I graduated in December 2017. So during my last semester, basically, I just had one course. I think all of us had the same thing. We had that one 693 course.
Yeah.
But that summer, I did an internship with a company called NerdWallet. So the company
Yes.
was based in San Francisco, and the position was a program management intern position. So uh, because of that, because of that internship, my resume was extremely project management oriented. So I had an internship in program management with a software company, and then I also had this project management experience at the university for 2 years, and so
Mm.
it became extremely program and project management oriented. So when I
Ca-
started
ca-
Mhm.
can we track back because I forgot that you did have that Nerd Wallet program
Uh-huh.
management. How did you get that?
Okay, so when I was doing this project management job at Chico State, I I was interested in doing an internship as a project manager, and
Mm.
there are actually not a lot of project management internship opportunities. So
Mm.
if there are like 100 software engineering internship opportunities, there might be like one or two project management intern
10.
opportunities.
Let's do 10. One or two might be little less, I think.
I don't think I did not find any. Like
Yeah.
I must have applied to like 15 project management intern positions across the
Intern
US.
position. Yeah, I think that's probably true.
And
Yeah.
software engineering, I must have applied to like 2000, 2500. I have the list. I have 2500 in my spreadsheet for software engineering. So, I mean,
Wow.
15 to
I
2500
just
is,
again I want to highlight this that please understand this. He just said that he applied to 2000 jobs. So if you get rejection, it's okay because everybody does, and it's that's just the part
Yeah,
of the process. Not saying that you have to apply to 2,000 jobs. You might get it in the first job, you might get it in 2,000, but it's just the rejection are inevitable. Like you will get
absolutely.
it. So okay, go
Yeah.
for it.
But eventually you get it. Everyone gets it. If as long
Yeah,
as you try, you get it.
yeah.
So I was applying to all these software engineering intern positions, and I was actually interested in project management internships, which I was not able to get. And all the project management intern positions that I was applying to, they were actually hiring MBA people, because technically they want MBA people to project manage their projects.
Mm,
So I was applying to software engineering positions, and then I had applied to a position for software engineering internship at NodeWallet,
mm,
and I got rejected. Like during the ATS phase only, I got rejected, so I never got a call.
mm,
But in the month of February, I got this really unexpected LinkedIn message from a program manager at NodeWallet. And then he's like, I saw your LinkedIn profile and I saw an application that you'd already submitted to NodeWallet. I think I might have a position for you, which is a better fit than software engineering.
mm.
And so I was like, okay. And so he's like, can we talk? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like I was literally, I was willing to talk to anyone at the time.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, whatever. So we spoke, and then I had a series of 4 interviews with
Mm,
NerdWallet for the
mm.
program management intern position, and I got it. So
Nice.
when I got it, I actually had another offer from Expedia as a software development intern. And so I had a dilemma basically what to do, whether to go for the project management internship or for the software engineering internship.
Yeah.
And then I
I
think,
I bet the Expedia was higher paying.
yeah, it was
Y-
paid better than NerdWallet.
Yeah,
Uh,
so for people who think project managers make more money, that's not true.
yeah.
So, project managers, business analysts, consultants don't make a lot of money. So
If
anyway,
you
go for it.
excel at it, like you can make a lot of money. If you'll take some time, but the growth trajectory is faster as compared to software
Correct.
engineering.
I think they both will meet at like 5 years. They both will eventually meet, but
Yeah,
like the first initial is higher for so like it's like this as a project manager, this as a software developer, and then slowly at after 5 6 years they meet.
they meet. Yeah, I think
So
so. Yeah, and in 5 6 years definitely they'll meet. But if you are a really good project manager, I think in 2 3 years you'll be able to
yeah, yeah,
probably even go ahead,
yeah,
most likely.
yeah.
So I did that internship with NerdWallet, and then so that's how basically I got into NerdWallet, and I did that internship.
Right. And again, just want to highlight that he had no work experience, got Chico State project management, technical project management experience because of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is another important tool for people who are not on LinkedIn, needs to be on LinkedIn right now.
And get
After at
premium.
least,
If you're searching for a job, get premium. thirty
yeah,
dollars is not much.
yeah.
Take it.
Yeah, totally. Update your profile, keep it up to date, talk to people, contribute to all the posts because now people are so much on LinkedIn that I'm like tuning out of LinkedIn because there's so much, so many people. Every other day I see a post. So, but anyway, but if you are in that job search, you have to be on LinkedIn. I would
Absolutely.
rather spend like 5 hours on LinkedIn versus 5 hours on like applying. So
Yes.
so he got it through LinkedIn. People reached out to, and you had an reject from the same company before, which is very
Yes.
interesting. Cool,
But I
awesome.
think my resume was there in their database. So when my boss, who was searching for a program manager intern, I think the HR might have told him that why don't you just screen the resumes that you
The
already have?
one which, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think we do the same thing in my company as well.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So now let's talk about the full-time job search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did my internship. I came back to Chico State, and then I was in the mood of finding a full time job. So I had about 4 months. I came back in September. I had about 4 months in hand. My OPT, I started that I think 1st of February or
Mm,
2nd of February, something like that. So I had exactly like 1 month even after I graduated to find a job.
mm,
And I started searching for jobs. It was really bad at the time. I don't know why. Was it just me, or does everyone face that? But I used to apply. Rejections were like common. Like I applied to 25 jobs, 24 would reject me like on the spot, and then one maybe I would get an HR call or something, and then after
Yeah.
that they would reject me. So
Yeah,
so it was,
it's like you apply and then the night you sleep in the hope that you, in the morning you will get something, but it's like automated
yeah.
rejection emails. Yeah,
Yeah, I used to have like 9, 10 rejections, and I used to just delete them. Like, if I read unfortunately, I was like right swipe, delete, delete, delete,
we
delete. So
regret to inform. We regret to inform.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So in December though, I started applying a lot. Like I got very antsy about
Mm,
whether I'm going to get a job or not. And
mm,
then I started applying like crazy. Like
mm.
I used to apply to every single project management position I could find in the US. Uh, my roommate would tell you, Anurag, who was my roommate, he would tell you that I used to sit 3 hours just apply. Like just apply. I would go to Glassdoor, LinkedIn, Indeed,
Mm,
whatever I could find, everywhere. I just applied like crazy. And then January, actually, I started getting calls.
mm.
So uh, I
What changed? Was it just application or something you change in your resume or approach? That's
my
why you started.
resume I used to keep tweaking, so I don't really remember what if I had tweaked anything. I used to keep tweaking every week my resume just to make sure that everything is fine. I used to update it with anything that I could think of. I think January, just because companies usually come back
I
from
was gonna,
holidays, and
yes, I was gonna say
uh,
that.
companies,
That,
yeah, they come back from holidays, their budgets are set, they know how many people they need to hire, who they need to hire.
yeah,
So I think that is one of the reasons why they started calling me.
yeah. I was, yeah. Now that I think about it, I was just gonna say
Mm.
that December is the dead month, at least in US, for like hiring and such stuff, because a lot of companies are so busy with holidays, and they're just wrapping up the year, and they are like figuring out what the budget is for the next year. So as soon as January starts to hit,
Yeah,
that's the best month. Like people start to like get
Jan,
calls
Feb,
and
and
all.
March,
Yeah.
they're great.
Yeah, because first quarter they want companies want to use all the budget has which has been allocated to them,
Yeah,
right? And now you do hirings in your current
yes,
position, so you know all this behind the scene. I also do this, so I
yeah.
know all this behind the scene.
So like October, usually budgets come in. November, December, everyone is in a holiday season, holiday mode. So nobody
Yeah.
wants to actually
See,
work or
that's one more reason I hate spring batch, because they graduate in December and then they face this problem.
yeah.
One, they face the
But
H1B problem, and then they face this problem as
I
well.
think in my opinion, it's an advantage to graduate in December. That's my opinion, because I think you can graduate and then you can start your OPT in 2 months. So that's like end of February, and then in those 2 months you'll definitely get a job in those 2 months. Even the competition is less and the opportunities are more.
True.
So
I mean, yeah, but if you graduate in May, which is fall, you have lot more time to find. I mean, find a job. Hopefully, because summer is there and people are looking for it. If not job, then at least you will get an internship. You can stop that OPT
yeah,
clock, and you have lot more time to convince your employer to file H1B. Versus if you get a job in January, February, you have
yeah, you
very
don't have a lot of time.
to convince them that hey, bhai, please file. Unless you know they're big company like Amex or
Yeah.
uh, bigger companies who that's a standard procedure for them.
So
Wait,
I
wait, one second. I think
go
there's a
ahead.
lot more sunlight is coming, so let me
Yeah,
turn down the.
even here. Sure, sure.
Yours is fine. Yours is fine.
So I was saying, so I started getting a lot of calls in January, and then I got my first offer in the first week of February.
Hmm.
So I immediately accepted it because I was like, "There's no point in waiting."
And
And
that's from Amex.
no, that was by a company in Indiana.
Okay,
So it
okay.
was not even a software company; it was in the mechanical industry. But their IT department wanted an IT project manager, so I had
Hmm.
accepted.
Okay.
um, and then I was still interviewing because I was not very happy with that offer. And
Right.
I had applied to like, I think 14 positions at Amex for project management.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh wow.
And
Nice.
so one of them, a recruiter, emailed me, and he was like, "Hey, I would love to chat and stuff." So we spoke for like half hour. I told him my experience with Nerd Wallet and Chico State.
Hmm.
And then he's like, okay, I'm going to get you in touch with the hiring manager. I'm like, okay, cool. So my the hiring manager, we scheduled a phone call. He called me on the phone. We spoke for like 15 minutes,
Hmm.
and then I got the offer in 2 days after that. So there was no on-site interview. There was no video screen.
Wow.
It was just a phone call.
This is so unique. I've never heard of
Yeah,
anything
even
like
even
this.
I was surprised. So when I actually got that offer letter, I thought that this might be fake. Uh,
What
see,
what was the conversation? Like what did you guys talk about with hiring
so
manager?
he asked me the same thing, like, what have you done at Chico State? And then he gave me two three scenarios, like, what would you do in a situation like this? What would you do
Hmm.
in a situation like that?
Yeah, like
I
typical
answered
behavioral
those.
interview
Yeah.
questions.
And then he's like, okay, I'll get back. The recruiter will get back to you. I was like, okay. I thought that normally the recruiter gets
Huh.
back to you saying that, yeah, okay,
That
the next
there's an
thing is
on-site
this.
interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
The recruiter was like, he called me and he's like, yeah, let's negotiate. You know what's your demand? And then we spoke, and then he gave me the offer. So I was like, okay. I mean, I first I was shocked because I thought this might be scam.
Yeah.
There is one more reason I thought it was scam, because the email addresses at all employees at Amex, we don't use at americanexpress.com. We have a different domain that we use, and they used to converse with me using that other domain, not americanexpress.com.
Okay.
I was like, this is something weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
Yeah.
then I actually confirmed that it was American Express because I googled what is their usual email address format and stuff. And so I so when they offered me, they did not know that I needed an H1B. And
Hmm.
so actually what had happened was, they offered me and uh, they retook the offer. I don't, what do you call it?
Rescinded.
Yeah,
Rescinded. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they did that offer. And
And that
I
was because you told
because of
them that you
H1B.
need. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I told him that, hey, I need an H1B, and they sent me the offer letter 18th of February or 20th of February, and I'm like, we have time until 1st of April. We can do it this year.
Hmm.
So he's like, no, I did not know about that. I'm like, that's not possible because my the application that I had
Yeah.
submitted, it
It's,
asks, do you need sponsorship
yeah.
to continue employment with American Express? And I'm like, yes, I need sponsorship. I'd been very honest about it. And so then they had to scramble a few things around, and then they had to remake that offer. So they redid the offer, and then I got hired, and then I got my H1B filed that year as well.
Nice. So they rescinded and they hired back. That
Yeah.
is crazy.
Because I
So,
told him that you offered me, that's why I had said no to the other company that I had accepted before, the
hmm.
Indiana one.
Hmm.
I told him that if you don't hire me, basically I'm screwed because I am on OPT. My days I'm running out. So this is not the right way to do it. And so he, I think, escalated things within the company and then got me the offer back.
Nice. And you had to move to Arizona?
Yes. So the position was in Phoenix, Arizona. So I
Yeah.
had to move. So I got the final offer, I think, 1st of March, and my joining date was 18th of March. And so
Hmm.
I moved on the 5th of March. So in 5 days, I was in Phoenix.
Nice. I'm guessing they paid for relocation.
Yes. So they gave me a sign on bonus and a relocation package. Usually, like, I would highly recommend for the audience who's watching this right now, if they usually try to sell you the relocation package, not in terms of cash. They are like, we'll give you a plane ticket, we'll move your stuff, but then ask them for a cash package. Ask them that, hey, I don't want your relocation assistance, I need cash instead, and you'll probably end up making more money
Right.
if you get a cash package.
That's a very good point. And how do people ask? Like, is it just pure email conversation? Like
So
saying,
normally when the recruiter calls you to negotiate your salary, the way to do it is, in my opinion, always do not talk about the sign-on bonus, do not talk about relocation unless you have finalized your base salary.
hmm,
Once the base salary is finalized, they say that, okay, 110,000 is your base salary, and then it's finalized, for example. Then you can talk about, hey, I'm moving from California to Arizona. Is there any is can you provide any assistance? and then they immediately usually say that, yeah, we have this company who'll take care of your relocation, and then we'll give you a container, you can put all your things in it, and then we'll ship it, we'll give you a plane ticket, and then we'll give you 5 days of hotel stay in Arizona, because you'll have to find out a place to stay and stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
But if you ask for cash instead of that package, you'll actually end up getting more money, because we generally don't tend to. I did not need a container to ship my things. I did not have anything. I literally went to Arizona with 2 bags. So I
Yeah,
literally went to Arizona
obviously.
with a Southwest Airlines ticket, which
Right.
gives you two bags.
In general, they are assuming that it's a American household, right? So
Yeah,
they're gonna do the standard thing. They don't know that students only have 2, 3 bags. That's it.
exactly.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So yeah, then you can negotiate for a relocation package, and then once your relocation is negotiated, then you can ask them if they have a sign-on bonus. Usually,
Mm.
most companies will give you a sign-on bonus, and it's contingent based on your employment with the company for at least a year or two.
Hmm. Oh,
So
okay. I didn't know that. I honestly I made a video about this thing that
Mhm.
things you need to make sure that you before you join all this like signing bonus, negotiating basically. I did
Yeah,
not do it personally, and I was like, I needed a job and I did not think about anything and I just went for it. Whatever they offered, I just took it.
exactly. Hmm.
At that point of time. And later I realized when I was in the hiring game, I was like, wow,
Hmm.
people ask for
Ask
so
them.
many things. And I did not ask for anything. But at least now we can share this so people
Yeah,
can get a better deal when they are like
totally.
actually getting an offer. And again, remember that don't get scared of negotiating. They are not going to take away your offer. They will always
Yeah,
go back to the first offer they give you. It's like
yeah.
once you negotiate, they will say we can do that, or we can meet halfway, or no, we
Or no.
cannot do it, and this is your final offer. If you want to take it, you can accept it. So
Right.
yeah.
And then there's no harm in trying for more. I mean, more the
Right,
merrier. So,
right, exactly.
and
So
I
don't
think don't just negotiate on money. Negotiate on other benefits as well. I think you have an ability to negotiate on the number of holidays you get,
Yeah.
the number of
I
PTO
said the
time you get.
same thing in the video. Same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yes. No, no, no. Go for it. I mean, I said the same. I was
Okay.
like smiling because I feel like happy. Like, okay, that's exactly the same thing I said.
Yeah, there are a
Like,
lot
it's
of
not.
things that you can negotiate on. You can negotiate for work from home. You can be like, I'm going to work from home 3 days a week. People do that. People can negotiate
Mm,
on it. You can negotiate for a travel allowance. You can be like, the office is going to be farther than where I live, so I need a commute benefit. So then
mm.
sometimes companies will give you like $100 more per month, but that's $100 more per month. I mean, that's
Yeah,
good enough.
totally,
So,
totally.
if it
Yeah,
is a job as a project manager, you can ask for a cell phone allowance as well.
yeah.
uh, they might give you that. So there are multiple places where you can negotiate. It's not just base salary that you can negotiate.
But you would only know if you watch this video.
That's true.
Anyways, just kidding. But okay, moving on to your khatarnak wala story, like the danger part where your H1B was rejected,
Yeah,
and how your company fought with court to get it approved. That is the story. I want to
sure.
know. Yeah.
So I joined, like I said, I joined American Express March 18th, 2018. And then they had already reached out to me for all the H1B paperwork that they needed. They filed my H1 on time. So my application reached April 1st or 2nd.
And this
uh,
is your first attempt.
First attempt. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
First attempt. And then my H1B got picked in the lottery. I figured that out April 13th because I called up the university and asked them if they have a note on my service record. So they told me about the receipt number. So my H1B got picked. And then in July, I got an RFE from USCIS. RFE is basically a request for evidence. So they needed more information on my H1B application. So they asked for basically the connection between my education and the job. So they were like, can you tell us why is your master's in computer science going to help you in this job? So they were asking my employer essentially. And then the second part of that was, why is this job a high specialty occupation? So there were two parts to the RFE.
The same
And
thing
so,
happened with me as well.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, but go for it. You tell your story first.
Okay. So then we responded to both of them. American Express has a team of lawyers. All companies will have a team of lawyers who will do this for you. So normally,
Most company, not all, but yeah, most
okay,
company, like smaller companies will hire single lawyer, or
yeah,
like smaller companies won't have like the like MX or EXL has. Like we have like proper lawyer legal team.
mhm, yeah.
So yeah,
So we came up with the entire response, and then we sent it to USCIS, and my H1B got rejected in October. So October, I got a letter saying that it's denied. Your H1B petition is denied, and the reason being because this is not a we don't feel that this is a high specialty occupation, and H1B is a high specialty visa.
right,
So basically, I was extremely sad at that point. I'm like, because if it got denied, that means even next time it's going to get denied, unless I move to software engineering or something else.
right,
But my boss was extremely supportive, and he went to our vice president in the company, and he's like, you know what, we need to do something about this. And the lawyer had told him that we can appeal. So they had never appealed actually at American Express before ever. So I'm the
mm,
first case at Amex that they appealed, and I
nice,
think there was a huge cost attached to it. So my VP was fine with it, thankfully, and I'm super grateful to him. But
yeah,
they paid that money to the law agency. We appealed in the court,
mm,
and then basically we gave a lot of evidence on why this is a high specialty occupation. So the court overturned that decision, and it took them about 7 months to do that. So April 2019, the decision got overturned, and my H1B got approved.
wow. That is so amazing. When you say appealed, is it like anything in the court, or is it just like
It's in the
you
immigration court. So USCIS has a process to do that. So when you get your rejection letter for H1B, actually your lawyers will also get another letter explaining how to appeal if you
okay,
want to appeal.
okay, okay,
So
and then but you didn't have to go to like any court or anything. You just like
I
lawyers,
personally did not have to go. I don't know if my lawyers had to go or not.
right?
I did not have to go.
Yeah, it's mainly paperwork explaining.
Yeah.
I think, but maybe they had to. I don't know as well.
Yes.
But
And then
that's crazy. So when it got rejected, you were on OPT. Obviously, you had OPT for
yeah,
3 years,
I was
right?
on OPT. Yes, I was on OPT at the time. And then I applied for, so basically my OPT started February 2018. We applied for the H1B April 2018. It got rejected October 2018. Then I applied for my STEM OPT in January 2019.
Did
I
that got extended, or was
Yes,
there a
that got
problem in?
extended pretty quickly. And
Okay.
then April 2019, I again applied for my H1B. And then in 21 days, the 2018 petition was basically approved. So then they canceled the 2019 petition.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Oh, I see. So there were two petition, right?
yeah.
The one which was pending with court, and then the
Yes,
new one for the
the
2019.
next year. Yes.
So cool. That is so awesome. I had the same thing. I've made a video on this thing as
Uh-huh.
well. I had a RFE as well. Same that your how is your job related to this? Lawyers
Right.
did their job explaining why all of that, and this is very important for people who are working for small companies to have a better lawyers, because they very important for this part because my company knows how to answer that and how to deal with that. I
Yes.
also had an officer, actually visa officer, not visa officer, the USCIS field officer came to my
Oh,
office.
seriously, for you, like asking for you.
Yeah, for
Oh,
me,
okay.
one, they wanted to check if I was really a person claiming to be in the office. I still have a desk, so they took all pictures and all. Like
Oh,
he
wow.
that yeah, they took picture of my desk. They took picture of my
That's
stuff.
interesting.
Yeah, and then they interviewed me and my boss, asking like
Uh-huh.
basically asking what was my role and then confirming them with my boss as well, like what was his role and you know
Interesting,
the
man.
things. Yeah, so
I have not heard of a case where actually I've heard that field officers do visit, but I don't know anyone personally with whom this has happened. So
yeah, no, it happened with me. But luckily, everybody knew me in my office. And the only funny thing happened was nobody knows in my office that my name is Pritesh. I mean, I think people know, but people call me Yudi. So when
yeah.
that officer came, he's like, "We're looking for Pritesh," and the person who was like, who this guy was talking to, it's like,
Uh-huh.
"We don't have anybody working Pritesh
Oh
over
my
there."
God. You might have gotten screwed if
Right. So it's like I have the record over here, and then that. So she actually like, are you talking about Yudi? And he's like, we don't have anybody Yudi. So that was, and luckily she went to front desk and was like, hey, this person is looking for that, and then it's like, oh, that's Yudi. That's how it goes.
Oh, okay.
But but that was scary. I was
Interesting.
like, भाई मेरे H1B की बात लगा देती तू.
So this was like before you got your H1 or after you or when you had
After, I got H1, just like you. Then I got RFE. Then it got approved, and then next year in March they
uh
sent an officer to confirm all of that.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, so it was crazy.
Wow.
I've made a video on this, but it's crazy. Anyway, so now that you settle down, you have H1B approved, all of that is good. You move to Canada. We're gonna talk
Yeah,
about that, and I want to mention to the people who are watching this is that we're gonna make separate video for more core skills of project manager and program manager in a separate video. Please comment and let us know if you would like to make
totally.
a. And of course, Aditya hires people in his company, or like he's in a hiring team as well. So we will be focusing on resume and things like that. So Aditya is very kind enough to agree to help us review, and we'll do that in live stream, so it's going to be more fun. So
Absolutely.
moving on to Canada, like why Canada, why did you move, and you still work for the same company, for us based company. How does that
Yeah.
work?
So, first question, why Canada? So I came to the US with a dream of living in a developed country for the rest of my life, like all of us. And I joined American Express during this whole H1B fiasco where it got denied and then it got approved. Somewhere started feeling that, hey, you know what? I need to be in a country which is more welcoming. That's just me. That's just
Mm,
my personal preference. And so I started looking at other countries. I was researching on like New Zealand and Australia and the UK, Canada. And so I realized that a lot of companies in the US are actually now slowly moving their bases to Canada. So one of the companies that
yes.
everyone knows about, Zynga, it's a gaming company. Their engineering team, m- majority of their engineering team now sits in Toronto. Amazon has built a massive development center in Vancouver, and there is a second massive development center that's being built in near Toronto in Hamilton.
Mm, mm,
So what's happening is that a lot of people, especially Indians and Chinese in the US, since there is more than 100 years wait for getting a green card, essentially it is not becoming worthwhile to wait that much if you want stability. If you're a
it might
person who's,
change now
it
with
might
Biden.
change. I mean, they've been saying that, but I
Right,
hope so. If that happens, I'll come back. But
yeah.
until then,
No,
I'm
no,
happy.
yeah, sorry, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. Sorry, go
No,
ahead.
so I was looking for stability basically, and I did not mind getting less salary, but I wanted more stability in terms of even if I lose my job, I don't have to leave the country. I can still continue staying. I can find another job. I don't need visa sponsorship. If I want,
And you can find other job not necessarily related to what you studied or in
exactly,
your specific, you can do work even in like Costco or Burger King or
anything.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, I can do
yeah,
anything.
Yeah.
And then if I want to start a business, which I eventually do want to, I should be able to. On an H1B, you cannot do that in the US. Like you can start a business, but you cannot work for that business. So which is
Yeah,
very
it's
weird.
weird. Yeah.
So I wanted to,
Aditya, please don't forget me when you start your business. I'm
yeah,
still
I
your
was going to say
friend.
that to you.
Sorry. Go.
So that's why I decided that Canada is a better option amongst these five countries that I was looking at. And so I started looking at how to immigrate. And Canada has a really, really streamlined immigration process. It's super simple. You don't need a lawyer, you can do it by yourself.
Hmm.
So you just have to give your IELTS exam. And since you've already given TOEFL, IELTS is pretty easy. And then if you have a
Eh,
master's in North America, it's easy to get that education evaluation as well.
Yeah. It's not you have to give IELTS. I don't think it's a compulsory, but giving that increases your point.
No, it's mandatory. IELTS or French. One of them you have to give.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know that. I thought people give that to increase their point. I didn't know that it was a mandatory
It is.
requirement.
So there is in IELTS. So they have CLB levels. So like reading, writing, speaking, listening. There is a minimum score that is required, and then if you get higher than that, you get more points. But
Hmm.
there is a bare minimum requirement to it. So you have to have that much at the bare minimum.
Hmm.
And then you have to get an education credential evaluation done. So just they just want to make sure that your education is at the same level as a Canadian degree.
Hmm.
So I got those two done, and I applied for Canada, and I got it.
When was this? When was this?
I applied in 20 after my H1B got denied immediately, like 2 months after it got denied. Uh,
Okay, so
so I started the
2018.
process. 2018 I got applied, and 2018 I applied, and 2019 I had it.
And what's the process like? Can you quickly walk through when
Yeah,
you are on OPT? How do people like if I have to start like what's my process now?
to apply for Canada. Okay,
Yeah.
pretty straightforward. So first, the two minimum requirements are that you have to give your English exam, IELTS, and then you have to get your education credential evaluation done. So there
How
are
do you
four.
get that? Yeah.
Yeah, so there are four institutions that the Canadian government has authorized to do that. So one of them is WES, which we use to come to the US as well. The second is University of Toronto. So I basically, you have to go online to their website, apply for an education credential evaluation for immigration purposes. They have a separate section for immigration. And then you get your university to send your transcripts to them directly,
Hmm.
and so they evaluate the courses that you've taken, the grades that you've received, and the quality of education for that particular university, I think. And then they give you a certificate saying that, okay, this guy, according to the Canadian equivalency, has a master's degree or a bachelor's degree or
Got
whatever.
it. Yeah.
So you take the IELTS score and your education credential evaluation, and then you go and create an express entry profile.
Hmm.
So in the express entry profile, they basically ask you for your English scores. They'll ask you for the education credential evaluation. Then they'll also ask you for things like your age, if you are married.
Hmm.
If you are married, then what is your spouse's IELTS score? What is his or her education as well?
Hmm.
And then they'll also ask you for your work experience.
Hmm.
So the minimum requirement to even be eligible to immigrate to Canada or to apply for express entry is 1 year of full-time work experience or 2 years of part-time work experience
In US or anywhere?
anywhere in the world.
Okay.
It doesn't
Okay.
matter. Like there are so many people who come directly from India to Canada on
Yeah, yeah,
permanent.
yeah. Right, right.
So, but minimum 1 year of full-time experience or 2 years of part-time experience.
Does campus job count as a part-time experience?
Yes, in if it is outside Canada. If you did that in Canada, it's not. But if you
Okay,
did
right.
that in the US, if you did a
Yeah.
master's in, I did that, right? So I did my master's in the US. I used my campus experience 2 years part time to apply.
Okay,
So that
got it.
that works. The requirement is that you have to be paid. That's the requirement. That's it. It doesn't
Okay.
matter how much you're paid. You might be paid $2 an hour. That's fine
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the Canadian immigration authorities. But
Right.
to prove that it is a legit job, you have to be paid, and you have to have those salary slips or some proof that you were paid.
Hmm. Okay.
So you basically create an express entry profile with all of these details, and then you get a score. So you get a score like whatever 450, 460, whatever it is. and then every 2 weeks, the immigration authorities in Canada basically do a draw,
Mm.
and this is like the top, usually like 3,500 people, I think. I don't know now if they've changed the numbers, but that time they used to pick up like the top 3,500 people from the entire pool, and they used to send them an invitation to apply.
Mm.
So when you get the invitation to apply, then you have to fill out more details. So then you need the salary slips, work experience
So, and
letters,
when you say top 3,500 people, it's like based on the scores, right? Like,
based on the score.
okay, so if the top score was, let's say if top score was 475, and then
Mhm.
474, 474, like
Yeah,
that, it
that's how
comes
they.
like the last person in that 3,500 could be 455, and that
Yeah,
like all those people will get an
exactly.
invitation.
So
Okay,
they,
okay.
they that's how they, if you go on their website, they'll actually say that the minimum requirement for this draw was, the cutoff for this draw was 453, and they'll put a date also, that if you applied before this date and your score is 453, then you got it. And so
And how often you said? 2 to 3
so
weeks.
every 2 weeks,
Every 2 weeks.
every
So
alternate
every
Wednesday.
2 weeks, these many people get invitation.
Yeah, 3,500 families get invitation to apply.
Wow. So the number of immigrants moving into Canada must be so high.
Their aim is to get 1 million people by 2023, like skilled immigrants.
Wow.
I don't know how much they've reached. I think they've reached like 300,000 by now,
Hmm.
300 or 400,000, but this is going to go on until 2023, I think,
Wow.
according to the
Okay.
latest statistics.
So what happens if you don't come under that number? Do you do something to increase your number, or you just keep
Yeah, I mean,
applying?
your application will stay in the pool forever.
Okay. Okay.
So until the score reaches there, it will stay forever. I think not forever. Let me take that back. It's 2 years. After 2 years, it is automatically thrown out, and then you have to create a new profile again.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
to improve that score, what you can do, so more number of years of experience will improve your score. So you continue working in the US, continue working in India, wherever you are, your score will increase once you reach 3 years of work experience. Otherwise, try giving your IELTS exam again. If you get a better score, your score will increase.
Hmm.
There are other ways to do that as well. So one of the ways is PNP, Provincial Nomination Program. So just like we have states in the US, Canada calls them provinces over here. So actually, every province can invite you to apply for their provincial nominee program. So basically, for example, Ontario has a very high demand for software engineers. So
Hmm.
if you have an express entry profile and you've listed software engineering as your primary occupation, Ontario can see that, hey, you have software engineering experience. We are going to invite you to work in Ontario. So in that case, you get 600 points directly, and you automatically get an invitation to apply. But the condition is that you have to stay in Ontario for at least 2 years in that case.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you can try for PNP programs. You can.
So, right, and I know there are like a lot more into Canada immigration for that. So, but once you do get an invitation, what happens, Nick? Like, what do you do then?
So once you get an invitation, you have 2 months to submit a full application, 60 days. And in those 60 days, you have to, so whatever you stated in the express entry profile, you have to prove all of it.
Hmm.
So you said that if you said that you have 1 year of work experience, you have to prove it. So you need a work experience letter from your manager stating your job duties, your salary, and then you need your salary slips attach those. Then let's say that you have stayed in India and then you were in the US, you are in the US as well right now. So then you need a police clearance certificate from India and the US just to make
Hmm.
sure that you are not a criminal.
Hmm.
Then after that, you need to prove that you have at least, there is a certain number that they've defined. So if your family size is whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, there is a certain amount of money that you must have in your bank account before you can immigrate. That is just to make sure that once you come to Canada, you can settle in. Until you get a job, you have money to support yourself and your family.
Okay.
So you need that, and then you need a medical exam. So
Hmm.
you have to. They have panel doctors across the world. So you have to go to a doctor. They get an X-ray done and some blood tests, and then the Canadian immigration authorities will check if you are not a burden to the Canadian medical system, because
Hmm.
Canada has a national
Free healthcare. Yeah.
healthcare. So they want to make sure that when you come to Canada, you're not going to be a burden on the country from
Hmm.
a healthcare standpoint.
Hmm. Okay. Cool. So once you submit it, they look
Yeah.
at it and approve it, or what? Like what happens?
So once you submit it, they look at it, and if everything is fine, you'll directly get an approval letter. So they basically send you a passport request email, and so they'll basically just ask you for your passport. Then you have to ship your passport in the Canadian embassy in your country, and they'll basically issue a one-time visa, an immigrant visa, and a confirmation of permanent resident document. And then you take that, come to Canada, and then they ship your PR card to you. So just like a green
Nice.
card, you have a
Yeah.
PR.
Awesome. I know we took a like a detour to Canada
Yeah,
immigration, but
we can actually make another video on it. So I don't
yeah, yeah,
mind doing that.
absolutely. I think we might as well. I mean, this gives a very good picture in my head. Hopefully, audience understand. But please comment and let me know if you want to know more about this. Let's go back. So you did get your PR. The initial question: why did you move? So you moved to, you got an PR. So when was that move happened? And like you still work for US based company, right?
Yes.
So
So I
how?
still okay.
How did you
So
convince your company?
okay. The what I so I last year in July I got married,
Hmm,
and my wife is in Canada. So I mean, now we are together, but that time she was in Canada and I was in Phoenix. And so we were thinking what to do. Should we settle in the US or should we move to Canada? And so I was, anyways, in the process of kind of leaving the US. I did not want to stay there because of general stability issues that we
hmm,
spoke about before. So we decided that we are going to stay in Canada.
hmm,
Now, the question, how did I convince my employer? That was a tricky part because due to thanks to COVID, my company said that you cannot work from outside your designated work country or whatever. So they're like, you cannot go and work outside the US if you are a US employee.
hmm,
So I was like, okay, whatever. So basically, I actually came here not telling them at all. I know if anyone of that, if someone from HR watches this, they are going to call me, but I don't care. I came here without without telling them at all, and then I was like, how are these guys going to get to know anyway, right? I mean, they're not going to get to know, and I have authorization to work in the US. My H1 is valid until September 2021. 3 weeks later, I get an email saying that according to our records, you've been working outside your designated work country. So I think they tracked my IP when I
hmm,
connect to VPN.
hmm,
And so they're like, you need an approval from your senior vice president if you want to continue working outside your home work country. Otherwise, you have to come back.
hmm,
I wasn't able to go back for the simple reason, though I had an H1, I did not have an H1 visa. I never did my stamping. So, and all the US embassies in Canada were shut down because of COVID. So, I wasn't able to get
hmm,
an H1B appointment either. So, I emailed them back saying that number one, my wife is here and I came here to visit her. Number two, I cannot come back to the US because I cannot get a US visa. Though I have a B1, B2 visa, if I use that to enter, then I can't I'm not authorized to be employed because my I-94 status will change to visitor than
hmm,
as compared to an H1. And I told them that, I'm working normal Phoenix hours. I spoke with my boss. He was like, I'm cool with it. So I told them that my boss is fine with it. I CC'd him, and then they were like, "Yeah, but we need an SVP approval." So I was like, "Okay." So we went to the SVP. We told him, I mean, we as in not me. My boss went to him and told him that, "Hey, my this person is in Canada. He's working, but he's working according to Phoenix time. He has US work authorization. He has Canadian work authorization as well because he's a PR. So." There's no problem. Is that okay? And then he was like, yeah, cool, whatever. I mean, he was like, I don't care.
yeah.
So I that's how I got approved to work from Canada.
So do you get paid in Canadian money?
Now I get paid in US dollars in my US bank account.
Oh wow. So is there a way where so do you think this is gonna change and now you're gonna be moving into Canada, or like, what's
So
the
I
future
have an
like?
option. So I
Hmm.
can actually get my H1B renewed. My H1B expires this year September. So I
Hmm.
have an option to either renew it and then continue with the current way, the current model that it's working. The problem is when it comes to taxation. So the tax laws are pretty complex.
Hmm.
Although they have a tax treaty between US and Canada. So if I make $100 in the US and I pay the tax on $100 in the US itself, then I don't have to pay tax in Canada for those $100.
Hmm.
So they have that treaty, but I have to file that tax return in both countries, and it's a little complex. It's a little tricky. I would prefer to get my payroll moved to Canada. That's what I'm currently talking with them. The reason being so that my retirement savings plan can happen in Canada. I don't have to keep moving my money from the US to Canada.
Hmm.
Right now, I'm doing that every 15 days.
Right.
Uh,
Right. Okay.
so then because I don't have a salary in Canada, I cannot get a loan to buy a house in Canada. If I was actually trying to do that. I'm thinking of buying a house here, but I wasn't able to because they said I don't have a salary in Canada.
Hmm.
And when I went to the US bank, they said that we can give you a loan, but we cannot give you a loan to buy a house in
In
Canada. Like, you can
Canada.
buy a house in the US. So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I want to move the salary as well.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But
Wow.
you,
This.
but technically you can. I mean, you can continue this model for forever. So
But yeah, right. But the tax part is where I think is more important for people to understand. You
yeah,
can, but I think there's like a little bit of
it's
complication, plus your company and legal things. I have no
yeah,
idea how all of
it's
this works.
tricky.
So
It's
yeah.
tricky to navigate it. You can. So that's what I said, that you can do it, but it is tricky. I mean, it's going to require a lot of effort from your company, from you, from your tax attorney, from immigration attorneys to
Right.
make sure that everything is streamlined.
And I just want to put a disclaimer, please. Whatever we said, we are not recommending anything.
I am not giving legal advice. I will not be held accountable for anything that I say.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
friendly advice, not legal advice. So
Exactly. This is we are sharing our experiences. This might work for you,
yeah,
might not work for you. If you get in trouble, we are not we are not responsible for that. So please consult all the legal peoples before you
yeah.
do all of this. So
And every company is different. Some companies will allow. Like, I know a few companies who are like completely fine with it. Like, they won't care. They'll pay you a US salary and you might be sitting in Switzerland. They don't care. There are companies who are
right.
like hell bent. They'll not allow you. If you leave, they'll basically fire you if for that. So it really depends on where that
Or
company is.
they might right, or like that, or they might just move you the payroll to that country. So
Yeah,
you're still working for the same team, same thing, but the payroll might move to this that country,
yeah.
and the visa laws I don't know. So yeah.
So usually with visa laws, they require, normally companies require that you have the right to work in the country where you are staying. So you can't say that, hey, I'm going to be on a visitor visa, I'm going to sit in the UK and I'm going to work for a US employer on an H1. They
Right.
they
No,
they will
no.
they'll definitely not allow that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You have to have the right to work in the country where you're physically located.
Right, right. Okay. How's so how long have you been living in Canada now?
I moved here in August, so 6 months.
How's life in Canada?
I love it. I love it. I love the winters. They're super magical.
Oh,
It's
you
way.
love winters? Oh my
I mean,
god.
when it snows, it's really magical. It's nice. It's great. It's better
Uh,
than Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix
That
was a
that's the
desert.
one reason I did not choose Canada, because it's so cold and it's like always snowing. Like there's like maybe 4 months where it doesn't snow and you can enjoy, but 8 months it's like snowing. I hate
It
it.
snows December, Jan, and Feb. 3 months. October, November is cold. March and April is cold. It doesn't snow though.
So तो हो गया ना 8 months.
But I like cold weather. I mean, Yudi, I
But
was in Phoenix. I was in 47 degrees Celsius summers. It was better than that.
yeah, choose your battles. Do you want
Exactly.
hot or cold weather? Yeah. Okay, so and how's people, how's life, how's culture over there? Is
People
people
are
welcoming?
extremely welcoming, like way more welcoming than in the US. So Canada actually embraces that it's a country of immigrants. I don't think US does that. US is now like, no, no, we don't want immigrants. When actually everyone is an immigrant in the US. Like their
Yeah.
history is
Yeah.
that way. But Canada is way more welcoming. I really like the way the government gives benefits to
Mm,
citizens and permanent residents. Like you have free healthcare all your life. You don't have to worry about your health at all.
mm, mm.
Anything you need, surgeries, anything,
That's
like it's completely
that's the
included.
best thing ever.
Yeah,
But I think the tax is a little high, right? Like it's a
not much.
40%.
No,
No?
no, 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 not much.
Mm, okay.
I mean, let's say that you are paying X% tax in the US right now, you'll be paying like I think 3% or 4% more. But
Mm,
then you are saving money on health insurance.
yeah.
You
I
are
mean,
saving
health
money.
insurance is crazy
Exactly.
expensive in US. So yeah. Okay. And what's the biggest Toronto? I mean, you're in Toronto, right? So
Mhm.
it's like super expensive, is what I've heard. Like the
It is
apartment and cost of living.
no, it is not actually.
Really?
It's comparable to Phoenix. It's way cheaper than San Francisco and New York.
Well, compare it obviously. Yeah, yeah. If you're comparing with that, but like I'm talking about if you were making money in Canada, then it would be like what's give me a cost of
I'll
living.
give you a num. So let's say, uh, I don't know how to put this. So, for example, I don't have a salary in Canada right now, so I can't
No,
even
no,
give you
I no.
percentages.
Give me the
Um,
cost of living expense. Like what
okay,
is
so a rent for a one bed apartment would be somewhere between 1,600 to 1,900
hmm,
dollars, Canadian dollars per month. Electricity is kind of subsidized, so $50 over there. Internet same 50. So let's round it off 2,200 for your apartment, all in all.
does that include food? Does not
No,
include
no,
food.
no, no. Just your home. That's it.
Okay, so
2,200.
2200, and let's put 500 to 600. Is that enough for food or no?
Yeah, more than enough. I
Okay.
mean, $30 per person per week food. That's how I calculate
If you
groceries.
cook, if you go out,
If you
then it
cook,
might be more.
yeah,
So let's round it off to 2600, 2700. Now
yeah.
that's the monthly living expense in Toronto. What's the average salary over there for a program manager or
For
project
a
manager?
program manager, you can expect between 110 to 150
Okay.
uh,
And that
Canadian.
means you will get in hand like 8,000.
Roughly, yeah, about 8,000 to
Oh, that's
8,000,
not
eight
bad
thousand to
actually.
9,000.
So
Yeah.
then you do end up saving like $5,000-6,000 and
If you want to buy a house, the case is different. Buying a house,
all
it's
right.
expensive. If you want to
Yeah.
rent an apartment, it's cheap.
But then you can leave little bit outskirts and
Yeah,
maybe
but even
live.
outskirts, it's getting expensive. It's becoming like New York, so it's just growing every
Right,
year. So
right.
getting super expensive.
Yeah. This is awesome. Yeah, this we episode. I mean, it we went all over the place, and this is
Absolutely.
like amazing. I love your journey. Definitely bringing you back for hiring perspective and more project management, program management. Please comment and let us know. I'll leave your LinkedIn
Awesome.
so people can connect with you.
Sure.
But again, I know we're gonna do this again. I'm super excited for future episodes. So thank you so much
Definitely.
for doing this.
Thank you so much, Yudi. It was great doing this with you.
Until our next one.
Keep smiling and keep hustling.